All right, Taurus, I really like this. And this seems to be a consistent thing with a lot of people right now. You are becoming a different person. You're becoming a different person because you're being put through a situation that you've already seen. But it is about you breaking cycles and becoming somebody different because of it. So you are rare and free. There are not many like you, and then round and round. Now, this one is saying a struggle to find places where people accept you or where you feel you fit in. You must learn to embrace all that makes you different and become the very best that you can possibly be. You will never be defined, so refuse to comply. I love that one. It says explore the frontiers of the human spirit and know how precious and rare you really are. And that is only happening for you because there is something that's happening over again with round and round. The thing here is this card talks about how it may appear that you're going backwards, but really you're not. You're standing at a higher level now, down onto your circumstances, and now you can see how to break the repeating pattern. So even though you may feel like, God damn it, I didn't want to have to go through this again, it's going to be one of those things where it's finally a lesson learned and it will never happen again, and you are no longer the same person because of it. You will be better, which is perfect. That's what I like about this the most, but what bothers me is how that's tying into the dark mirror. Now, like I always say, this is only going to be for some of you. But this is very, very similar to, what we're seeing here with the oracle cards, but this is showing like the darker side of it. So, triumph of lies. The moon phase is the wax and gibbous, and then the stage is bargain. It says, if something hurts me, I change myself so it can stop. The sentence says, not all that glitters is gold. Emptiness is felt when there is nothing under the dress. Let me take a breath here. Now we're going dark. The triumph of lies is about appearance, and appearance is always so important in the world. Day by day, it seems more important. Can that be a lie too? We seek to be what the world outside desires and not necessarily society at large. Our family or partners or friends place judgments on what we should be. In the dress we choose, we carve a mask of expectations, behaviors, and values to live by. It offers stability to ourselves and to our relations, as being honest and true to ourselves can be too tiring and too easy to make us hurt. Unfortunately, the relationship with our mask is not as straightforward as it feels. Inside the mask, envy grows, vanity takes root. Lack of self-confidence becomes a habit. It gnaws at us and hurts us from the inside. It feels like it is ourselves, but it's not really authentic. It's just a lie we have made habit to believe in. When our lies become a gilded cage and our dress became a burden, we should remember that we were born naked. So again, it's basically about not being something that you are not for the benefit of others. Don't be fake anymore or try to please anybody anymore. If they can't appreciate you for who you are, fuck them. And that's just me being honest in how I look at that. Here's your overall, the Page of Cups. And I feel good about it. I do. I look at that as, having new emotions being restored. In some cases it can be talking about, dealing with somebody who's emotionally naive. Now, I don't feel like that's you. I feel like something, on an emotional level is being restored to you. Now, that can be based off of communication, though, with the Page of Cups. But we'll see how this is playing out. But I feel good about it. Like, I don't feel like, oh shit, what are you dealing with here? Because I look at this as a return to like innocence almost. Or innocent emotions, I should say. So in the past, strength. So needing to hold on to your inner strength here to continue, right? Or needing to find strength after something that you've experienced in the past. But we're still, regardless, looking at new opportunities, even with the page being the overall. Okay. All right. And again, I still feel hopeful about it because I feel like that is where you're eventually headed here. But it's about restoring, those emotions that make you feel good. Because the Page of Cups, just like the Page of Wands, is going to be about really good communication. This is the good feelings, right? But with the Five of Cups being in the present moment, for a lot of you, I mean, that makes sense with strength coming through. So being disappointed, being let down, feeling like you're on that island by yourself, surrounded by all of these difficult emotions. But I'm immediately wondering what the hell is going on in your environment that is making you feel like that in the present moment, Okay, the Four of Pentacles. I look at that as you come out of a place of being hurt, being let down, and still kind of dealing with that, but at the same time trying to pull on your strength to get through this. But I look at the Four of Pentacles as at the same time you're trying to maintain stability. So the Four of Pentacles can definitely talk about things that you are holding on to tightly to something, because it's fear of loss or fear of change. Because immediately after that, you see the Five of Pentacles. But I also look at this as I'm just trying to maintain right now. I just need to maintain what little bit of stability that I have. I can't afford to go through any more change, looking at the five above that. So, I mean, it does represent a level of stability being a four, but I think that for some of you, you're just trying to hang in there. And I almost feel like with the Page of Cups, it's like a hope to have, some emotions restored to you. But I definitely see this as you getting to a place where there is going to be renewed emotions. Now, on the other hand, like I said, if we're talking about being emotionally naive, this could be about you needing to kind of understand the emotions that you're going through that you may not have experienced before and needing to find some kind of stability. But the thing is you're already showing strength coming through, which means for me, this has already happened, or whatever caused this has already happened. But yet you're still dealing with those emotions and trying to maintain, So the Page of Cups can be about communication here, about some emotions that, maybe you don't understand, right? Because I always look at this as I've never felt this before, but it's your overall though, which makes me hopeful about this. Your best path to follow, the Six of Pentacles. So, you can't continue to kind of like stay in this place of just trying to maintain the way things are. Because the way things are in the present moment is still being focused on what has been lost, and where the emotional pain lies. With the Six of Pentacles here, we're talking about needing to give a little to get a little, right? The equal give and take, giving and receiving. What is it that you're willing to give to renew something in your life? Is a love being renewed here, or is it just emotions surrounding a situation? But I look at the Six of Pentacles and think that you can't expect to receive anything if you're not willing to give. But then I also understand the perspective of, I've been fucking hurt. What the hell do you expect me to give? And I kind of get that a little bit, but for some reason, something is being restored, I feel like, with that Page of Cups being there. And I do believe that it may be a new beginning. And it could definitely have to do with, a love, right? Being the cups, but we'll see here. Okay. There, I look at that, and again, when we're talking about new beginnings and you having to fight for a new beginning in your life, looking at the Nine of Wands in between what fell out for you, the Ace of Wands in your environment connected to the Five of Cups very simply is, I'm disappointed that I didn't get to take advantage of this opportunity, or that this opportunity was taken away from me. Now, for some of you though, and again, this goes back to the renewed feeling, there is a reason why you're pulling on your strength. And it may be because you were hurt enough to continue to stay in that place, even though there is an opportunity for something to be renewed or restored. And I kind of see that with the Page of Cups, but connected to the Ace of Wands, right? There is at least some level of passion. But the problem is that for some of you, you're still maintaining the difficult emotions surrounding what may have happened. But the thing is, right, there has to be a little bit of give. But like I said, like I can understand, if you've been let down, you've been hurt, you've been disappointed, what the fuck do you expect me to give? That is immediately the defensive, stubborn energy that I'm getting from that, you know? But this is still in your environment, and that's the thing, right? And this is definitely a renewal to me. In a lot of situations, the Page of Cups, when we're talking about the communication of emotions, even though we're talking about a naive energy, it is renewal of something that you have not felt, you know? And even if it's emotions that you had before, it's being restored or renewed, you know? But is that because an opportunity is presenting itself in a situation where you've already been hurt, right? Okay, I'm gonna shut the hell up now. I'm telling you, look at it. Look at how it's crossing you. All right. Your hopes and your fears, the King of Wands. And again, I'm going to stress this. This is a general message. It's only going to resonate for some of you. And I know that some of these readings get a little bit specific as far as the situation, but God damn it, look at it. You know what I mean? The King of Wands. Somebody needs to hear this. The King of Wands and your hopes and fears. I never like when a court card is in this position because your hopes and fears lie in the decisions and the actions of another person. And I believe that that's what this is about. I think that the King of Wands is something that's external to you. If it's about what you're projecting outward, it's about a fear of having enough wisdom to follow your passion, to take advantage of an opportunity, right? Because the King of Wands is full of fire and excitement. I know because I live with him. He likes to go after new adventures. The problem is the follow through. And I can't stress that enough. I'll give you an example. My Sagittarius, he always starts new things, but never follows through and finishes it and wastes a bunch of money doing it. It drives me fucking nuts. So the fear there may be that this person is not going to follow through. But the thing is with the Page of Cups being the overall, this may be you and another person both having emotions restored after having been through a lot of pain. But for you, it's not that easy to let go of. You know? But the thing is with the Six of Pentacles, you have to give a little bit. And I think for you, it's going to be about needing to kind of communicate the way that you feel. But I also feel like this also has to do with the other person. They need to start giving you a little bit before you give anything. You know, especially if you're coming from a place of emotional vulnerability, you know? And it's funny because I've got this message before. I can't remember who I got it for. I think it was Capricorn. Was it? God, I'm getting fucking old. But anyway, it's tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel. What do you really want? You know? And then I look at that as being the man of passion. There's a lot of attraction, a lot of fire, a lot of passion, right? But your hopes and fears lie within what this person is doing. And again, it's only going to be for some of you. If it's you, it's your hopes and fears lying within your ability to take action. Wow, man, the hell. Oh, and then coming out. What did I tell you? I'm telling you, Taurus, I don't know who the hell I'm connecting with here, but I'm telling you right now, with the star coming out, I knew something was going to be restored. Hope and healing. Hope and healing is coming out of this. This could definitely be about love, but it could also be about any important relationship in your life. It could be the relationship you have with yourself, but it all lies in an opportunity that is being presented to yourself to get past emotional pain and disappointment and being let down. Just what I would say here is be careful about what you're hanging on to with the Four of Pentacles. You know, I understand the perspective of I'm just trying to maintain right now. But I look at that Six of Pentacles and think that if you want that healing, if you want that hope restored, you may have to give a little bit, right? Holy shit. And round, we're not going around anymore. You're not the same person anymore. Things have changed this time. Oh my goodness. All right. Let me settle the fuck down. Whew. Okay. And I've said this before because I know I've seen the shitty comments. People going, oh, she's so dramatic, right? No, it's I get excited about this. I put myself in the perspective of the person I'm reading for. right? Because how the hell can you understand the messages coming through if you don't? You know, so I'm not trying to be really dramatic here. You just got me really fucking sucked into this. And then the Two of Swords, it's not that easy. And I get it. I get it, right? So when you look at the description of this card, I love this one. It's interesting to me because she's like, do I pull him out of the water or do I leave him there? What do I do? You know? So, and I haven't gotten to see this one yet. First of all, the Empress. I love it when the Empress shows up for earth signs, very specifically. But in this case, you may have gone through a situation with a person where you really needed to find some inner strength here to get back to a place where you feel comfortable with yourself and your surroundings and the beauty that is around you. Now, on the other hand, you may have been a little bit too giving and nurturing of yourself. And you may not be, you know, happy with how things unfolded. But I look at this as this is where you were, and this is what you needed to do to get back in tune with yourself almost. I am the fucking Empress. I am on my throne. I am comfortable with who I am, and I am happy with my surroundings. You know, but like I said, there's that nurturing part of her though too. You know, and I see her as somebody being, you know, very loving and open to another person. But the fact that you lead into the Five of Cups and that being connected to the Nine of Swords says that, you know, you may be a very unhappy mama, especially for the females. You know, for the males here, we could be talking about, you know, another female that you're dealing with. But I kind of look at the Empress as being comfortable with who you are and enjoying your life and what you have around you. Because she's about enjoying the physical senses, you know. But, and besides that, being in tune with nature. If that's on an earth sign, I don't know what the fuck is, right? Now, the Nine of Swords, being connected to the Five of Cups, that's not good. You're talking about you constantly replaying in your mind all of the things that happened and expecting the worst. It's all of those negative thoughts that keep you pinned down. And they drive you nuts and they torture you. But it may have to do directly with what this person has done. Because I always look at this as effect, right? Cause and effect. And here's the effect. So it would make sense that you move into a place like, look, I'm just trying to maintain what I've been able to gain out of this situation, right? But again, there's still that hope and that healing and the ability for things to be restored. But it's only based on, I think, communication, not just on you, but on their part too. If you're dealing with a person here, but with the Two of Swords coming out, it's not that easy. And like, I get it. It wouldn't be that easy to just make that choice to let somebody back in that caused so much pain and mental like havoc for you, you know? So I don't think that you're able to make a choice to allow anything to change right now. And I get it. I understand, because especially if you've had to work really hard to get back to, you know, the place of the Empress, why would you want to fuck that up? Why would you want that to change? You know? And again, right, you're breaking a cycle. I am not the same person that I was. I expect more from this, right? But you're going to have to be willing to give something if you want that hope and that healing coming out, or to have hope restored to the situation. But I see it as a good thing. I do. It's just your perspective on the new beginning. You know, especially if you are tired and worn out from, you know, what you have dealt with. You know, I just want a new beginning. I just want that new beginning, right? But there is the truth, though, too, with that Ace of Swords falling out, which could definitely be you speaking up. But as far as where some of you are at right now, I just want to maintain. And then integration. And I think that that's probably more important than allowing somebody to come back in right now. And I think that's kind of where you're at. And I don't see it necessarily as a bad thing. So the detachment needs to be detaching from the situation, the way that you think and feel about it, in order for there to be healing. And again, right, like reconnecting with spirit so that you can do that healing. And that's where integration, I think, is coming in, because integration talks about mind, body, and spirit going in the same direction. But that is what you need right now before, I think, there can be any definite choice on what you are going to do involving this person, this situation, or where you're going to go out of this, right? Because you do deserve better. You deserve better than what you've experienced. And that's very clear with the Star. But I like it. It makes sense to me, right? Detaching yourself from the situation in order to heal. And then first light, beginning a new cycle, and not the same cycle over again. I like it. I like it. But this could be, the beginning of a new cycle here and a new opportunity where there is going to be that passion and pleasure, right? Something better than what you've experienced before. But it could be with a person, like I said, that you've already dealt with that hurt you. And it's not that easy to let go of. And I get it. I understand. But you are a different person this time. And like I said, the cycle is not repeating itself. You're breaking that.